What's going on, everyone? It's Mike, it's John back again. Everton have just beaten Nottingham Forest away from home 1-0. John, look, I'm just going to say it as it is. It was a little bit at times, a little bit scary, but overall, Everton deserved that win.
Listen, we were the away team. If it wasn't scary, then you'd think there was something up, wouldn't you? You know, a home team at some point in the game is going to have spells, and the commentators were saying, the Forest fans aren't going to be happy. It took them till the last 10 minutes to wake up and to come into the game. But that's credit to Everton. For the other 80 minutes, Michael, thought Everton were dominant in possession. We looked a better footballing team. We looked like we wanted to win it more. And it proved at the full-time whistle. We've come away with 3 points, and I thought Everton deserved that. Some fantastic performances today from certain individuals, which no doubt we'll talk about. I thought it would have been a harder game than what it was. I thought Everton were dominant for at least 80 minutes, and you'd expected Forest to have spells in the game, which I've just said, and they did. But from when Everton went 1-0 up, I didn't really feel we were in any doubt. We had other chances as well, Michael, and I said to you, it's pointless having all this possession and this brilliant build-up play and this, dominance in games if you can't finish games off. We had chances there. We had one off the line today. Lucky enough, McNeil pulls one out the hat, and a great finish by him, both being critical of him. But I think it couldn't have fell to a more capable person of scoring a goal like that, because we've seen it from him before.
Yeah, you're spot on. And just to talk about some of the chances, Everton started the game fairly brightly. They rode a little bit of a storm. Forest are quite well known for scoring in the first 5 minutes. Everton rode that relatively easily. It was a bit concerning the first 10 minutes because, it looked like Anthony Elanga was going to have Ashley Young on toast. And if I'm being honest, he did. Most of the game he did. But the centre halves managed to cover for Ashley Young, and some other players managed to cover for him. So it was much better from that sense. And then Everton did have chances. You're talking about one gilt-edged chance. Ball drops to Beto after a bit of a mix-up by the goalkeeper, and an Everton player bounces to Beto, and he's got half a goal to slot the ball into, and he puts it over the bar. And it's a striker that's lacking confidence, a striker that maybe struggling to adapt to a Premier League, has been linked with moves away. But it showed intent. And then the other chance that you rightly mentioned is the one off the line from McNeil. He lovely opportunity, falls to him quite nicely, takes a touch out of his feet, hits it across the goal, and it's a good block by Morello for them, who, by the way, looks a fantastic player, by the way, for any Forest fans watching. He looks a fantastic centre-half. So that was the first half. I can't think of anything of note from Forest, and that speaks volumes.
I think what you say there about McNeil, and as I say, we've both been critical of him in the past and past videos, but I think he's the sort of player, Michael, who can give you something like that today. And he's probably the only player, apart from the goal Harrison scored at Goodison, where it went in on the underside of the bar. I think he's probably the capable player who we've got in the squad, in the team, who can pull hats out the bag like that, rabbits out the bag, or whatever they call it. So I think that's why McNeil Dyche sticks with him for moments of magic like that, because Dwight McNeil, when he's poor, sort of doing what he's there to do, when he's not quite doing it, i.e. putting the balls in the box, running at players, we've been critical of him not doing that enough lately. And last week against Man United, he went missing. It's as if the occasion got to him. But the goal he scored today, going back to what I've just said, he's capable of winning us games with goals like that. And I think that's why Dyche sticks with him.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. I mean, he's been frustrating, to be honest. And as I said to you in the preview, I actually would have dropped him. So I mean, it speaks volumes. Yeah. But I would have dropped him. I was also frustrated Young started. I was still frustrated Young started. He clearly doesn't fancy Patterson, and Coleman's probably not quite ready to start a Premier League game yet. But it did irritate me a little bit. But I want to talk about some of the positive performances. To be honest, John, I just want to get it off my chest. Everton should be sitting about 11th, shouldn't we? I mean, where would 17 points? Where would 17 points put us in the league? I mean, that's where Everton, should be. Yes, there'd be a points deduction, fair enough. So say you take off half, 12 points, and we're still roughly where we are. No, I think we're just outside the relegation zone. But this Everton side, we're proving that we're not a bottom six side. We're not a bottom six side, and we'll prove that again. We've gone away to West Ham, we've gone away to Forest, we've gone away to Villa, we've gone away to Brentford, we've gone away to somewhere else, and we've won these games. The one that frustrates me is the draw at Sheffield United, because in hindsight, that probably should have been another win. So it's really not bad at the moment. If Everton had a goal scorer, you can actually argue that we would have probably got at least a win or a draw out of the games that we've lost. So
I think you've said for quite a while to me, Everton realistically, with the games that we lost at home that we should have won, and we've missed out on points, we should have another 9 points, and we spoke about that. Now, Listen, we've got the points deduction. There's nothing we can do about that. We'll see what happens with the hearing and the thing Everton have put in. We'll see what happens with that, but forget that for a minute. I know we can't, but I'm going to forget it for a minute.
Yeah.
If you look at the footballing side of it, for what we've watched the last 2 seasons, without the points deduction and for especially the away performances we've put in this season, I'm not getting ahead of myself here, but we will be talking more about challenging for Europa League than being in this relegation fight that we've spoke about. Listen, we've got the 10 points deduction. It is what it is. If we get any back, all well and good. But there's no way, as we've quite rightly spoke about many times, Michael, there's no way this team should struggle with relegation. Now, that was a must-win game for me today, especially with the games we've got coming up. I did say that to you. It was a must-win game. We've won it. We're putting good performances away from home. If we could turn half of our home performances into performances like that, and an extra 6 points from home, even with the points deduction, Michael, we're not in the relegation zone. So if we can take this away form to Goodison Park and hopefully get some of these points back, we're easily mid-table this season, because this team, Dyche is putting his print on it now. And I know we've spoke about his team selections, especially you have with Young and his substitutions. But regardless of what we've said about that, he's getting the results away from home. And I think, you mentioned Ashley Young. He was poor, and we couldn't understand why he got picked again in place of Coleman for me before Patterson. I think it's pretty obvious he doesn't really rate Patterson, the manager. I think that's why you see 2 fantastic performances today from the centre-halves, because they knew what it was going to be like with Alanga running at Young all afternoon. So then 2 centre-halves had to step up, and they knew that, because the commentator said they're using Alanga again because they know, the Forest players were getting it wide to Alanga, because they all knew he was going to beat Young for pace. We all knew that. I think it was probably experience why he's played him yet again. But what I've just said, and I'll reiterate, you're seeing 2 fantastic performances today from our centre-halves, because they had to, because Alanga time and time again was getting past Young and getting the ball over. 9 times out of 10, one of them 2 centre-halves was there heading it out. But the 2 centre-halves today were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and agreed. And actually, the 2 in front of him as well, Idrissa Gana-Gueye and James Garner, I thought both of those were fantastic as well. I actually will go as far as saying I thought that was one of Idrissa Gana-Gueye's better games
since he's come back
this season. He looked more composed, he looked steady, he looked like he was trying to find the pass, whereas sometimes he looks a little bit rushed. In this game he didn't. He coped well. James Gardner defensively today really put a shifting, battled against a friend of his in Morgan Gibbs-White. I know they're friends. I've seen them I've seen them. I've got a picture with both of them from the under-23. So I know that it was a bit of a battle between them 2 today, and Morgan Gibbs-White trying to come out right. And again, another. I mean, I'm not going to say this I'm saying this in jest, But the fact I'm teeing this up, you kind of know where I'm going. But Vitaly Mykolenko, as of right now, has to be considered one of the most informed left backs in the Premier League. I'm not saying he's the best. I'm not saying that. But he's one of the most informed because he is. I can't remember him getting beat at Man United, against Man United last week. I can't remember him getting beaten the 2 games before. I can't remember him getting beaten today.
He had Salah in his pocket at Anfield.
Yeah.
I think what you're seeing from Mykolenko, for me, up to now, he's probably been Everton's best player this season, most improved player, but without a doubt. You know, he's still got a lot of shit going on at home with his dad fighting in the war in Ukraine and all that. But he seems to blank all that out, Michael, this season, you know, when he's coming in from the first whistle to the last whistle, he's getting tight to his man, he's getting up and down. If his man goes past him, he's bursting every sinew to get back, to get that tackle in or to win the ball back. And he's playing with confidence, you know, and it smacks you in the face when you see a player playing with confidence like he is, how well he's playing. And then you look at someone like Beto, who you mentioned before, who's playing with no confidence whatsoever. You know, it's chalk and cheese. So Mykolenko, for me, has been fantastic. Then back 3, Tarkowski, Branthwaite, Mykolenko, been fantastic all season. Okay, over on the right-hand side, we all know who should be playing there. Well, we know who shouldn't be playing there, let's just say, in Young. There's a good combination coming with the keeper as well at the defensive line as well. We look tight, Michael, and that's rubbing off on the midfield as well. And I just want to go back to what you mentioned about Idrissa Gueye, probably his best game this season. I think it's his best game since he's come back. What you're seeing, when Doucouré, Idrissa Gueye and Onana don't play together, we're always praising one of the other 2 if the other one's out. And this just proves they can't play together. And James Garner, again today, because he was in the middle, and we spoke about this the other night with the Forest fans on their channel, he wasn't on the right. He was pointless on the right. Sean Dyche realised that in the middle today, it's tough to pick a man of the match between James Garner and Mykolenko for me, because I thought they were both fantastic. They were running like they were from the first whistle today to the 94th minute. They were everywhere, especially Idrissa Gueye. He covered every blade of grass today, Michael.
Yeah, I agreed. And there's another couple of things I want to mention, because, again, we've been critical of our wingers. I've been critical of Dwight McNeil. We've been critical of Jack Harrison. Jack Harrison gets the assist, I think it was, and Dwight McNeil gets the finish. So we saw right to left today, which was, you know, I'm trying to take as many positives from this as possible. You know, Forest fans will probably say, you know, you weren't much better than us, or, you know, you were, you know, just slightly better than us, or, you know, you didn't deserve to win. It should have been a draw, blah, 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is, I actually thought we was in a different league to Forest today.
I thought we were far better than them.
I was not concerned at all by anything that Forest threw at us today. There was a couple of moments where I was a bit like, okay, Elanga's in, and there was that curling shot that he just put wide of the post. And obviously Pickford had to come out and make a big save. But there was no time today where Pickford had to make one of those long grasping saves, or, you know, get down low really quickly. There was nothing like that at all.
Yeah. I understand the boos at the end of the game. I think the fans are turning. We spoke about this the other night on the match preview. The fans are turning on Steve Cooper now, and you could hear it at the full-time whistle. And listen, as an Everton fan, you know, if that was us and we hadn't done nothing for 80 minutes and then we decide to put a shift in, you'd be getting booed off us as well. It's not enough, you know, and that's why I think Everton were far, far better today than Nottingham Forest, especially at their ground, Michael, because it's not an easy place to go. It's not an easy place to go. So Everton have gone there. They've been the better team. We've had numerous chances. We've had one off the line. We've only, if we had, as you said, if we had an out-and-out striker who knew where the goal was, who consistently scored, who was playing with confidence, it's more than 1-0 today.
Yeah, agreed. John, just one last thing, because we've almost cremated Young there, to be honest. But I will say one thing about his character. Although we know he shouldn't be playing, he doesn't let his head drop, does he? He doesn't
No.
come in and not play with confidence. He's still the ultimate professional. I think it's fair to say he's the ultimate professional. I love the fact that you see him talking to Branthwaite and Harrison in front of him. I love that. He just hasn't got the legs. It's almost frustrating for him because I'm sure he wants to be better. You know, the old Ashley Young at Man United days, but he's just not that player.
I'm sure when Dyche sits down and looks at his team selection today and looks at the game back in hindsight, he probably knew Alanga was going to beat Young for pace 9 times out of 10, probably 10 times out of 10. But going back to what you just said, he was constantly talking to, Branthwaite. He was constantly showing his experience with. 1 minute, my phone's going to die. He was constantly showing. It's all right. It's on. He was constantly showing his experience. In his 38 year of age, being a Premier League footballer. I know he's played for 38 years in the Premier League, but that old head that you need in the side, and whether it be him or whether it be Seamus Coleman, I think this team needs an experienced head, and I think that's why Young probably plays today, because we all know Alanga was going to beat him for pace. Sean Dyche knew that. But again, I will say, it just brought out the game plan that Tarkowski and Branthwaite had between them today. I thought they were fantastic.
There's 2 players I want to mention from Forest, because I actually thought these players were good. Sangare. I was going to come on here and call him Sangria, but I thought that would be too disrespectful, bearing in mind he played quite well, actually. But I didn't understand Steve Cooper substituting him, because he substituted him, and it looked like he had been the guy that was marking McNeil at the corners. So as a result of him being substituted off, it cost him a goal, in my opinion, because I actually thought he was having a great game in the centre apart for them. And the other one is that Morello, the centre half. He's got skill, he's got pace, he could shoot from range, he can carry the ball. If I'm being honest, I'll be surprised if he's at Forest next season.
I think when we done the match preview, the other lads mentioned him. He was one to watch for. He was a good player. I want to talk about one of their other defenders, Philippe. I don't know how he finished the game on the pitch, to be fair. Yeah. If that's an Everton player, and again, I'll probably get shot down if there's Forest fans watching this. Stop crying. You whinged about your 10 points. You're whinging about players should be sent off. If he was an Everton player today, he goes. And that is what pisses me off with the Premier League. Listen, this is a match reaction. It's not a rant. But there's no fucking consistency whatsoever. Yeah. Because I guarantee you right now, if he hadn't already been booked, one of the things that he should have been done for again would have been a yellow card.
Yeah, agreed. And there'll be a couple of Forest fans that will say that they maybe should have had a penalty for handball. It weren't handball for me. I mean, it's so close to the core. His arms by his side here.
It's on the line of the game. It's come straight in at him. He hasn't moved or anything. It's hit him as he's if he gives that, I'm fucking done.
And then the other one from the other end was where the ball bounces off the floor and it hits his sort of elbow. But now we saw that given midweek in the Champions League, but in the Premier League, it's rightly so not a penalty. So all in all, I don't think Forest fans can complain about the result. Everton are the bigger club. We've proved it as not Forest fan TV. You know that's been sent for you too. You know it's there. Everton are the bigger club. We've put you in your place. I'll see you for Beat the Drop on Monday up the Toffees. John, thank you for being there as always. Everton have beaten Forest 1-0, and hopefully, for our Forest friends, that is Steve Cooper's last game in charge. Up the fucking Toffees, John.
Come on, you fucking Blue Boys.